Printable vinyl is a hot topic this week. After posting this video, so many of you had a lot of questions, and all very valid. So today I'm going to take you through a deep dive of what printable vinyl is, how you can achieve it, and if this is the correct process for you, because odds are it may be, and it also may not be. So let's cover all of our bases today. If you're ready to dive in and learn more about printable vinyl, make sure you hit subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming tutorials and future educational content like this. Anyways, let's just jump right into it. There's a lot to cover. In this video, I will cover the entire process from the equipment all the way through pressing. Now, I personally work with a Roland BN-20A. I know some people have asked if you can use an office size printer, and I'm not necessarily sure just because this is the only printer that I'm familiar with. The cool thing about the Roland BN-20A is it prints and cuts all in one, so you don't have to reload the media into a separate machine. This is not a printer that I dove directly into out of nowhere. I've been waiting for about 3 years to get one of these. And the reason that I gravitated towards a Roland printer is because they print on multiple different substrates, not just heat transfer vinyl. So I could have went the DTF route, but I wanted the option to print on a variety of different things rather than just transfers. The ink is kind of the star of the show here. It is eco-solvent ink, and you will see because I have the Roland BN-20A, it does not print on that last cartridge, which would be white or metallic. If you have the Roland BN-20, you would obviously have that option. I will say the media is pretty unique. It comes at 22 inches wide, and you can order it by a variety of different footage. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the Roland printer only prints 18 inches wide, so you do have a little bit of clearance on the end. Switching out the media is super easy. They all go in the exact same way, except for the banner paper. It's just flipped, but it's honestly not too hard once you kind of just get in there and get the hang of everything. I would like to add before anybody comments, I am not sponsored by Roland. I purchased this printer by myself, and if you don't believe me, I'm willing to show you that I continue to make payments on this thing. But it is one of the best purchases that I have made for my business. And if you are interested in a Roland printer, please ask any questions below because I'm not going to lie, there isn't too many videos out there aside from the videos that Roland gives you. And it can be a little bit tricky because these really aren't plug and play like maybe a Cricut would be. These have kind of a big software behind them and a lot of different aspects that you have to have a good understanding of before you just dive right in. Anyways, with all of that being said, I wanted to show you this entire process so that you could see firsthand that this really isn't hard. And although this video is kind of slowed down for you guys to see, changing out the media and prepping my project really only takes me about 3 to 5 minutes if I'm just kind of putting my head down and doing what I need to do. Additionally, the ink does last for quite a while. Like I said, I've had this for about 4 months, and I still am about halfway full. The ink is not cheap, but it does last quite a while. And like I said, it prints on everything. But today we will specifically be talking about the heat transfer vinyl. This vinyl, I believe, is the Siser brand or Siser brand. If not, then it is the Roland brand. I can't remember. I do have both, and they're not labeled anymore. They just kind of sit next to each other. Both work really well. They're very soft and durable, and I've never had any issues with them actually transferring. So once everything is printed, you will see that it is a good opportunity to print multiple images at once. I always try to fill as much space as possible, but with this one, I didn't have too many prints this week to do, so there is a little bit of wastage. Please don't yell at me in the comments section. I'm already yelling at myself in my mind. Anyways, at this point, you just weed everything apart. And please don't roll your eyes. It's not like that cheap plastic thick vinyl that's super hard to weed and it keeps ripping. This is really thin, not in a weird way. It's super easy to weed. The cut is really precise, and honestly, I don't really have too much of an issue. Now, the neat thing is, if you see that white vinyl right there, that actually wasn't printed. So you can just cut letters or wording right out of this vinyl like anything else. And if you guys don't know how to run the software or create cut lines, let me know. I would be interested in doing a video on that as well because it can be a little bit of a struggle in the beginning, and I don't want you guys to have to struggle. Now, I will say I offset all of my colors when I input them. That way I don't get any white edges. But you will see on this God and Faith image here, there's a little bit of white on the inside. That is because it was a distressed look. It's going on a dark shirt, and the client does like the look of the white behind it, kind of brightening up the letters. Once you have the outer portion weeded away, you're going to take a pick pen or a needlepoint pen, whatever you prefer, and just weed out those little sections. As you can see here, this is in real time. It's not too difficult to weed these out, and it's not picking up a bunch of vinyl around there. Like I said, these devices are super high tech when it comes to cutting, and I'm very pleased with it. I know for many of us, we came from DTF prints or maybe even sublimation, and you're probably questioning, why are these not mirrored? Well, the cool thing about printable vinyl is you don't need to mirror it because the back portion of this, that white vinyl that is stuck onto the film, is actually the portion that is going to adhere to your shirt. So you're going to cut these apart, and then to get them onto the shirt, because obviously we can't just press them like that, there's going to be a mask. And you'll see that coming up. It's basically just a sticky film that you have on any other type of vinyl. But this is going to be on a different type of roll. You'll buy these separately, and honestly, the mask is not very expensive. The vinyl, honestly, isn't very expensive. I've seen this process done a few different ways, and some people will not cut these apart, laminate the mask over it, and then cut them apart that way. But for me, I choose to use this method because it does save on the film. And for me, I just think that's better for both our environment and my pocketbook, because then I'm not purchasing film over and over again. I find that I can get 3 to 4 presses off of these, and it still works perfectly. So I like to measure out a good section that's going to work for the project and then cut it to size. Then you're going to take the film and remove the backing. The sticky part is going to lay directly onto your vinyl, and you're probably thinking, how in the heck are we going to get this off? Don't worry, when you transfer it, the heat does something. I don't know, I'm not a chemist. And it works out so that you can just pull this directly off. So kind of like adhesive vinyl here, you're going to take a scraper or a squeegee or whatever you call it and really make sure that this is secured down. I like to do this on both the front and the back so that there aren't any air bubbles. And then I will remove that transfer film. Now you are totally ready to press, and you will see that that white part is the part that is going to go onto your shirt, leaving the design on the top. I think that printable vinyl is super cool and a great way to achieve a lot of different projects. Now it's time to heat up your heat press, and for me, the settings that I use are 300 degrees for 12 seconds. Vinyl does not need to be pressed for a super long time or at a very high heat, but I do recommend at least medium to high pressure. We've arrived at the best part, which is pressing our material. Now, the first thing we should do is a warm press or a quick press to remove any moisture or wrinkles. Make sure that you're not overheating the material, because one thing about vinyl, if you overheat vinyl, it tends to not stick for some reason. It can be very finicky if it's burnt. Additionally, with this shirt, you're going to see that there is a little bit of texture or quote unquote wrinkles when I pull this up. That's because there is embroidery on the back of that. So I had to note that and kind of just really make sure that everything was laid down. If you struggle to line up your graphics with the center of your shirt, I always try to find the center of the graphic and then the center of the shirt and imagine a direct line going down. From there, I really take my time, pick this up, look at it head on, and then say, okay, this is going to work. And the reason that you can actually pick this up and look at it is because that transfer film is sticky, so it's going to stay in place. Also, I like to place this 3 to 4 finger lengths from the actual collar of the shirt, depending on the size. Now make sure that you're using a Teflon sheet to protect your vinyl. You don't want it to get overheated and warped. And the cool thing is, this is a warm peel, but I don't recommend going directly into that and ripping it off. I recommend giving it at least a 5-second cool down time so you don't burn your fingertips off, and taking your time when you peel this away because you don't want to pull anything and tear any potential issues. Now, a few things to note with vinyl. It is very durable, but you cannot dry it on high heat, but you can't dry any decal on high heat. That includes DTF prints. They do last a super long time. They do not fade or wash away after uses, and what you see is basically what you get. I love the versatility that heat transfer vinyl gives me, and I'm not limited to one process. The BN20 has been one of my favorite purchases ever, and if you have any additional questions, always feel free to let me know. If this is your first tutorial with me, thank you for joining, and if you're coming back, welcome. I'm so happy that you are all here, and I hope I'm able to help you out in this creative world. I know when I started out, I was completely lost, and so my goal is to make sure that you're not lost. And even if you are, we can pull you back to the surface here. Anyways, every week I bring you a couple different tutorials. We cover an array of different subjects, and I'm always looking out in the comment sections for any questions or concerns that you may have. Anyways, I hope this video cleared up some of your questions about printable vinyl, and I hope to see you soon.